a couple things in chat as I finished up my last episode. So I'm popping back on because somebody asked Abhor Ebbers Abortion Clinique. Wanted my thoughts on abortion and on crime, and someone says preach. That would be Blue Box Kirby. That's neat. Does pineapple belong on pizza? If you enjoy the taste of pineapple, why not? That would be a Hawaiian pizza. Well, I guess you could put it on anything. I'm a pepperoni pizza person myself. Lots of pepperoni and lots of cheese. Bad for the arteries, but boy, does it taste good. My thoughts on abortion is what the question was. And I briefly, without coming right out and saying it last time, I have come to the conclusion that because now we can see ultrasounds and you can actually see that it is a baby almost from inception. It's not a nebulous thing. It's more concrete. That to me, it's a person. Yes, it's a little person, but it's a person. And anyone who has wanted a child and had a miscarriage, it's heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. To them, it was a person from the time they found out that they were pregnant. I understand where everyone comes from who is saying, it's my choice, I can do what I want, it's my body. They don't have the consciousness of knowing that there's another body within you, and you are to protect that body. If you don't want it, fine. There are a gazillion people who want to adopt children that would love it. Again, I'm not condemning anybody's choices. I'm just saying what my realization is now. Back when I was in my 20s, different story, because I did not have the full concept. To me, it wasn't real until you felt it kick. So between 4 and 6 months, and it was never that much of an option. You got pregnant, oh well, you live with the consequences of your actions, which was having unprotected sex, okay? If somebody, attacks you and you end up being pregnant, I understand you don't want anything to do with that, but that child is innocent. So, please go full term and give it up for adoption. The whole thing about what really got me concreted on this is finding out about how things happen in an abortion and what it does to the child and how some are still born alive. And if you let it die after that, that's murder to me. My opinion. I see what what happened to you, and I totally understand. Like I said, I didn't have this consciousness about it until much, much later in life. And, that's a trauma. That's a horrid thing, and especially at that age. So I understand what happened with you, and that was your choice at the time. And, it's such a hard situation. It's not black and white, is what I'm trying to say. It's not black and white. Wow, Blue. And they grew up okay. They didn't have any physical problems. Blue says they had a friend who survived an abortion. And wow. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. So there was a lesson there for somebody. The choices that we make, the things that we're presented with, definitely heartbreaking. But they're all in the grand scale of things. Life is lessons. Just a long line of lessons. Choices. Because you make this choice, this happens. Because you make that choice, that happens. Is anything right or wrong? Not really. Because it's all a learning experience. You're learning, you're growing, you're adapting, you're getting stronger in whatever is going on. In some cases, you do what you have to do in order to survive. As Abors, knows. That's how she survived. Being raped at 14 and having an abortion because of that. That's how you survive. I can't judge you on that. I can't criticize you for that. Would I have made a different choice at that age? Probably. But only because I was being raised by a very strict Catholic type people, and they wouldn't have done that. They would not have allowed me to do that. Does that make what you did wrong? No. You do what you got to do in order to survive. And as I explained to my son, my whole life has been, in order to get anything done, because I've had fibro most of my life and the chronic fatigue associated with it and the fibro fog that goes with it. In order to get anything done, I would have to do it in chunks. I'd do a little bit here, a little bit there, add on, and then eventually, hey, I'm done. And if I fully expended my energy on any one thing, I'd be wiped out for days. So I've been in survival mode most of my life. And you do what you got to do in order to get through. Only recently do I really see the lessons that were involved. Okay. And the fact that because I struggled through this part, I was stronger to deal with this part. And so it's like a rubber band. The more and more you do, until it breaks and you die. That's an awful example. I'm sorry about that. So, where'd that come from? Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, everybody has to make that choice for themselves. If I was asked what my suggestion is, or my opinion, what's the word I'm looking for? I would say, if possible, go to term and give the baby away if you don't want it. That would be my preference. But hey, I'm not the be-all, end-all. Hello? What do you mean, do I feel the burn? Malrog. Lady Eldegard. Is that the character that you play? Do you do RPGing? Abor also wanted to know about my opinions on crime. Well, I don't think you should commit crimes, for one thing. I think there's too many people who get away with too much crap. I don't think enough people are being raised with consequences. There are consequences to your actions, and letting somebody get away with stuff is not teaching them anything. And so therefore they go out in the world thinking that they don't have to suffer the consequences of their actions, and then they're totally surprised when somebody tries to enforce the fact that, well, you just committed a crime, therefore I have to arrest you and take you off to jail. And so they don't recognize the authority of that person doing that, because they don't recognize the fact they did anything wrong, because they've never had to face the consequences. Boy, that was a mouthful. Beast, I am not. Hi. Well, it depends. Someone thinks they should be more lenient with crime. I think it depends on what you're talking about. Crime is crime. If you're doing something that's against the law, it's a crime. If you don't think that law should be there, then that's when you petition the courts and you petition the people and you come up with new fairer laws. That's how the system works. Because people aren't as responsible or as conscious of how the government, how our system works. Okay, I am 68 years old. I was born in 1951. I have seen a lot of things on the bigger scale of the destruction of the morals of this country, the destruction of the systems that were established to support this country. And only recently have I discovered, I don't know if I watched Minority Report or not. These are just my thoughts. No, I don't think we should profile people and jail them before they commit a crime. No. Except in the instance of, we know this person's been acting crazy. We need to keep an eye on him to make sure he doesn't hurt anybody. And when the signs are there that he's on the verge of hurting somebody, then yeah, that's when we interfere. Because, okay, somebody's going to have to correct me if I'm wrong. There are laws against that, against plotting to commit a crime, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So that's to protect anything from actually happening. But once something happens, then yeah, there are consequences. There are people who get away with shit, and if I tried to do that exact same thing, I'd be in jail. A, because I know better, and God holds me accountable. So Spirit doesn't let me get away with anything. But B, because I'm not the right person. I don't have the right contacts. I don't fit a pattern. So I would be in jail, whereas these other people, double standards drive me crazy. That's one of my trigger points. Okay. Blue has a little sis that's watching. Hi. No, I don't believe in profiling unless, like I said, it's been shown that someone is, don't even want to use the word radical, because people are using words that's not the definition I remember. Like the word racism. If you do something that somebody else doesn't like, then you're a racist. No! But they throw it around and use it as an adjective or adverb for everything. It's like, no! That's not what it means. I'm not used to chat. I'm used to just running off at the mouth and then saying goodbye. So excuse me when I lean forward and try to figure out what's being said. Crime is crime. There are consequences to your action. A nonviolent crime, yes, you have to pay the price. Now, if there would be alternate things, like somebody who passes bad checks because, they need to feed their family, that's one thing. Passes bad checks because they just like something for nothing. That's something else. So that's up to the judge to discern what is criminal and what is a choice, an alternate punishment that can resolve the situation and encourage a person not to do it again without actually... There's a lot of things wrong with everything. Yeah, our legal system needs a good looking into, because excuse me, because marijuana is like now legal in some states. Or is it across the nation? I think it's just some states, isn't it? Then you have to relook at the laws that put people away, and you have to relook at the ones who have been put away for that, and maybe they should be released on what do they call it when the sentences, time served. Because why are they being punished when new people aren't? Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. And it was thirsty. Anyway, everybody's being targeted nowadays. It's not just white people. It's not just black people. If you hold a belief that is different from what somebody else's belief is, then you're wrong, and therefore, you get smeared. You get, I guess they call it doxed. I'm on Twitter, and my handle is @QuiteTired. And because I'm quite tired of a lot of the crap that I see, and literally I'm quite tired all the time. So I see a lot of the stuff going on, but I don't always understand where they're coming from, and you can't just go by the headlines anymore because the media is so slanted and distorted, the majority of them. I was a newspaper reporter for a short period of time, and when they started wanting me to slant things for the juicy stuff, for the stuff that would make big headlines, and it was like, no. To me, journalism is relaying to you who, what, when, where, and why. I give you the facts. I set up the scenario. I tell you what occurred, what happened, how, why, where, when. It's up to you to decide whether you like it, whether you approve, whether you disapprove. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm just here to give you the information so you can make up your own mind. That's what journalism used to be, long time ago. It has gotten so... Editorials and opinion pieces is where the individual can share their opinion about what's going on. The rest of the time, it should be just relaying the facts so that you know what's going on in your neighborhood, in your community, in your state, in your country, and around the world. You don't need to be telling me how you feel about things. I don't need to know how you feel about things. And if I need to know, I'll watch your opinion piece. That's something that really bugs me when CNN used to be a favorite channel of mine. Because back when Hurricane Hugo hit in the 80s, I was down... No, was it the 80s? No. Yeah, it was in the 80s. My son had just graduated from airborne school. And we went down to see him in Georgia. I think that's right. My brain is really bad. And Hurricane Hugo hit. And it was only supposed to go up along the shore. Well, it came right on inland and hit where we were. I think that was Camp Geiger. No, that's not Geiger. Can't think what it's called now anyway. But we were all, hunkered down as it went right over us. And our time, they got the graduation party in the night before, but then the next day all leave was canceled because the military joined forces with the local government and stuff and help with cleanup and do other things. So, we headed home. That whole night I'm watching CNN to find out what's going on, because they used to be real good about sharing the facts and what's going on in the world. They've gotten really bad. My opinion about sharing the facts of things without giving us their personal opinion. Okay? That's the way it used to be. And that's way back when. Gosh, that's almost 40 years ago. I'm old. But that's how it should be, in my opinion. And I'm old school. And I find myself saying that a lot to a lot of people. I'm old school. I remember back when businesses took care of their employees, and if they had a 10% profit, that was great. They didn't browbeat their employees and take every last penny they could put their fingers on so that they could have a 50% profit. There was retirement. There was loyalty. There was working, entry-level jobs, and you would work your way up. The longer you were with the company, the more benefits you got, and the higher status you got, and the better job you got. And you would get to the point where then you would retire after, 30 years or more? And you would live on your retirement bonus that wasn't taken by the government. That's the way things used to be. That's the America that I remember, that I grew up with, that I wish we could get back to. But it won't, as long as whoever's owning the business is thinking more about the profit margin and less about the employees. It used to be the employees. They're through working with that company. The company got a break in the larger amount of people that they had in medical. More people you had, the less it cost. And that was passed down to the employees. They might have paid, $1 or $2 a month for health insurance, but the company took care of the most of that. And there were pretty damn good health benefits. But that system has been eroded. The governmental system has been eroded. I do believe there should be tax breaks, but zero taxes on a company, I don't think that's right, because that unless that company does a lot of community activity that benefits the community where it is. That's the only exception I can see. The tax benefits, the tax cuts rather, are to encourage companies to move into your neighborhood. But when it's zero taxes, that doesn't seem right to me. I don't, in my opinion, I don't approve of that. Oh, you gotta go. Good night. Abor, you take care of yourself, and maybe we'll catch up with you another time. Good night. Morog, did I say that right? 101. I can handle that. I don't believe in socialism, because it's one of those carrots that's dangled in front of you. You get free this, we'll take care of that, we'll take care of that. And on the other side of it, you lose your freedom. You lose The government is totally in your crap because you are so totally dependent on government. I don't believe anybody who says, free this and free that. There's always a catch. Always. I don't care who they are. There's always a catch. Capitalism. What do they call it? Democratic capitalist? Is that what we are? Whatever. I believe if you're putting forth the energy and you're growing a company and you're making money from it, why should I turn around and pay this person over here who's done absolutely nothing? No. I will turn around and pay the person over there who has tried and physically can't do it, mentally can't do it. Yeah, I'll help you out. But if you're perfectly capable of working at McDonald's until you've got a solid base and a work experience, and then therefore you can apply for a different job someplace else. McDonald's and companies like that, those are entry level. Those are just to get you through college, to get you extra spending money out of high school. You're not supposed to be making a living there unless you're one of the supervisors or the assistant manager or the manager. Yeah, then you get money. If you want a higher paying job, you got to go apply at the higher paying jobs. That's my opinion. Like I said, I'm old school. There's consequences to your actions. You don't get something for nothing. There's always a catch. Companies need to be better about focusing on their workers. There used to be pride in what the company made. They were proud of the product that they made. Made in USA. Yeah, it might cost a little bit more because you're paying for someone paying attention to what they're doing and having pride in it, instead of just, mass marketing, mass producing from other companies who aren't being paid decent wages. So it used to be there was pride in what you did. And that was the focal point, was the people and the product. And if you came out ahead, that was great. And if you came out 50% ahead, that was fantastic. And most of that money would go back into the company to either pay better wages or to pay better health care or to improve the workspace. And that's usually, that used to be, I don't know if it still is or not, was part of the budget, was what went back into the company for upgrades and improvements. R&D, how do we make it better? Stuff like that. And then you knew what your profits were above that. So, don't ask me what happened. People got greedy, I guess. Somebody asked me about Trump. And I'm not going to get into the political thing. But I did see a documentary that later proved to be slanted against him. But most of the people, he didn't treat the people like peons. And he had a lot of women that worked for him in his construction and hotels and stuff. And I found that refreshing, because what seems to be occurring nowadays is so, I can't even find a word for it. It's disheartening, because we used to have morals, we used to have standards, we used to one of the problems that I think we did was we were too nice. And people, a minority, would object to something and we'd go, well, okay, we can adjust for that. Well, okay, we can let you do that. Well, okay, we've slowly given our country away. We have slowly eroded our own stance, our own morals, our own principles in order to, okay, come here. Okay, that's all right. No, no. When I was raising my boys, yes, I know you want chocolate cake for supper, but you got to eat real food first. You know? So, anyway, that's me ranting and raving. Um, I think most of our peoples have left, so I will leave it at that. Um, I'll close this out now. Wasn't expecting to stay on, but it was nice to see everybody. Um, it was nice to chat about different subjects. I'll try to pop on more, especially now that I know. I'll just throw a hat on if I'm having a bad day, or if I'm not totally, top notch. I'm gonna have to buy another hat though. I've got a Navy hat. I've got the Defenders of Wildlife hat. I've got my spy hats. I have pink and blue Sojourn Paranormal Investigations hats. And I think that's all I have anymore. So we'll see what else I can come up with hat-wise, and see when I can come on again. So it was nice to talk with everybody. This is Nana's Place on Twitch TV, doing tea and talk time, and just chatting. So I hope everybody has a good day. Right now it's about, time goes fast, 5:20 Eastern time. So you have a good evening, and take care, and until the next time we meet, God bless. Bye.